Alrighty. So recently, actually this morning, I actually watched the interview that Mase, Mr. M.A. had recently with Angie Martinez on the radio. And it's like a 90-minute long video. It's not a bad interview. The only issues I really have with the interview is like, the questions that Angie was asking Mase. I felt like a lot of the questions he really wasn't answering directly. He wasn't providing direct answers. He was providing us with a lot of analogies, which to me is stuff that hustlers slash preachers do a lot of, when they talking, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't a bad interview. It wasn't a bad interview, but he was doing a lot. He was giving us he was providing us with a lot of analogies. It's like, okay, I get it. You've read the Bible before. Okay, cool, no problem. And I really wasn't mad. It's just something that I noticed. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that I noticed. And I'm like, yo, just answer the question, man. For the most part, I was cool. And a lot of what he said, I did agree with. But for the most part, to me, it was kind of on the common knowledge tip. You know what I'm saying? Because certain things that he said, it was like, oh, well, I say that also. You know what I'm saying? I think the same way also, or similar. You know what I'm saying? But it really wasn't. It really wasn't in relation to what what his current or previous situation may be with Cameron or anything. You know what I'm saying? But he said some good stuff. You know what I mean? You should definitely check the interview out. I mean, that's probably the first interview that I've watched where I was scrolling down attempting to read each and every single one of the comments. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, obviously the interview's long enough where you can afford the time to do that. But I was really scrolling down while I'm listening to them talk. I'm scrolling down, trying to read as many comments as possible. And I think the comments kind of reflect the interview. A lot of the people that were making comments, that left comments, they were kind of saying the same things. And I felt like a good amount of the interview, Mase himself was kind of saying a lot of the same things more than once or twice. Now, I think that's on him, and that's probably on Angie Martinez also. I don't think she did a terrible job. I read people was busting her chops, giving her crap about the interview. I don't think she did a bad job. I think she did fine. I don't know what that's about. I think she did fine. He provided a lot of the answers to her questions. He provided with analogies. Like, he did give some actual direct answers to a good amount of her questions, but a lot of the questions that she asked him, he provided us with analogies. And that's not new to me, you know what I'm saying? So like I pay attention to people. I talk to people for a living. It's kind of been like my thing for like my whole life, but also I listen to people. I listen very carefully to what they say. Okay, so he gets the same treatment. I'm listening to everything that he's saying very carefully. And of course, when he's going through the analogy flow, it's like, okay, yeah, I get the point. It's not like I never quite understood him, I would say. But yeah, I get the point. I understand where you're going with this. I get what you're saying. Direct answers would be better to direct questions, but hey, that's Mase, Puffy told you that he wouldn't stop, so whatever, you know what I mean? But like I said, not a bad interview. It was just kind of interesting, listening to him sometimes. Like some things he said, he was kicking some true facts too. Like some things he said, it was like, wow, I didn't know that. And it was like, wow, that's serious. That's true. Like you didn't have to tell, some things he said, like it was like, wow, you really didn't have to tell us about that. But not to say it was embarrassing, because in my personal opinion, no, it wasn't embarrassing at all. It's just, that's his living experience. That's something that he lived through. That's something he went through. So that's cool. I tell people all the time about my crap if I'm in the mood when I'm having a relative conversation, so to speak. So I can deal with that. I can kick it with that. You know what I'm saying? Not a bad interview. I mean, he said some things though. I mean, but that's what I mean. Like he said some things that were kind of making me look at him like, dude, really? Not to say he's a fraud or anything. I don't know if he was lying, but I don't know. Certain things he was saying, certain answers or responses that he provided Angie Martinez with during this interview, I was kind of like, man, You sure? Like, really? You know, like I said, I don't know if he was lying for the most. I really don't think he was lying for the most part at all. But it was just like, because you know, he kicked some truth. But I don't know, man. I mean, you got to check the interview out for yourself, and make your own personal assessment. He he's an interesting dude. You know, I ain't got no problem with Mase. You know what I'm saying? If I seen him in person, if I seen him in public, I'd say what's up. If I'm in a position to do that, I'm not gonna go out of my way or run across the street, be like, "Yo, Mase!" No, 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 no. That's never been my style, and it never will be my style. So please continue to understand that. Interesting interview. I mean, he said some interesting things, in my personal opinion. I think he said some really interesting things, which weren't bad, but you know, it's one of those interviews I feel like I definitely got to watch again and listen again, because it wasn't whack at all. It was just certain things had me, you know, take it back to the original Arsenio Hall show. Certain things had me going, like, homie, what? Like, okay, like I said, like a lot of questions, like Angie Martinez was asking him, he wasn't providing direct answers. And I'm not saying, you know, he was, I don't know what, sometimes, I mean, I get the analogies, you know what I'm saying? Because I know all about that, you know, analogies are in the Bible. So I get it, you've read the Bible, but I'm just saying, it's like, I couldn't quite call it. I couldn't quite call it. The one thing I could tell you right now, the one part about the interview that had me kind of looking at him sideways was and this was early on in the interview, Angie Martinez, she asked him straight up. She was like, "Yo, you tracked the Oracle. Okay, you got this one line in the Oracle talking about Cameron effed his sister." Angie was like, "Yo, what was that about? You know, talk to me. What's up?" And Mase gives her this long look. In my opinion, it looked like he didn't want to answer the question, which he did not answer the question. He responded to her. You know, he said some things, but it was like, of course, he came up with another analogy or something or whatever he was talking about. I can't quote it, but that was the one time that's when I started looking at him in the interview like homie, like homie, for real? Like, it's what did you mean by the lines? Quit playing with me. Quit playing with the public. Quit playing with the people that are interested to hear what you really have to say in regards to this line from your track, The Oracle, which it is a good track. It is a good track. It's not the best diss record I've ever heard. It didn't suck, but sorry. But anyway, you know, I'm like, wait a second. Yo, what were you talking about? All you got to do is tell us what you were talking about. What were you talking about with that line, which he really did not do? First, he said something like, he said something like, "Oh, well, I've already addressed that issue. I've already answered that question once, you know. A real man shouldn't have to say the same thing twice, you know what I'm saying? I've already talked about that, you know, so why should I have to talk about it again?" You should have to talk about it again because we, the listeners, your fans, whatever, that are interested, that are concerned, that don't quite understand maybe clearly what you are talking about, we want to understand clearly. We want to understand you clearly. We want to know what you are talking about. What part of that do you not understand? You know what I'm saying? And he just kind of, I would say for that question, it felt like to me, he kind of diddy-bopped around that one. Like, he said something, and I mean, the whole interview, he was clear and all that. He said some good stuff. He had some very good points that I do agree with. But I'm like, come on, B. For that question, that's when I was really looking at him like, wait a minute, let me pay a little closer attention to this cat right now during this interview, because, like, that was whack. He didn't answer the question. And everybody wants to know, because it's like Cameron says he doesn't have a sister. You know, he doesn't have a real biological sister. He doesn't have a sister. So, Mase, what are you talking about? He didn't answer the question. He really didn't. Like I said, he responded. He spoke to Angie the whole time. But, like, some of those questions, like, he was really, like, he just wouldn't provide direct answers. And people need direct answers sometimes. Mr. Mase, Mr. M.A. $E, Mr. whomever you are, Mr. Miss, I mean, whoever you are, people, it's like, you can't do that all the time. You can't do that with people, especially when you're a public figure, a celebrity, a famous person. You can't do that when you have thousands, maybe millions of people that want to hear what you honestly have to say about a particular situation, whether it be a line from a lyric, a line of lyrics from a song, or perhaps a movies. I mean, whatever. I want to understand what you said. I want to understand what you meant by that. He didn't provide a direct answer. So he gets whack points for that one. That was whack. That was whack. Because after he responded to Angie, and I think Angie Martinez kind of kicked in on it because she was just kind of like, all right, this dude's not going to answer my question. And she didn't pound on him about it at all. She probably was just like, all right, this dude's not going to give me a good answer. All right, let's just move on. You know, let's just move forward with the interview, which probably is what I would do, you know. Me, I mean, my style's a little different. If I want answers, I'm going to rock with you for a minute until you provide me with a good answer. But if you're going to be all stubborn and all that and stick onto that crap, your personal crap, I'm going to be like, you know what? You sit there with your personal crap, and I hope your personal crap makes you Christmas cookies. So get up out of here with that. You know what I mean? But other than that, the interview was not bad. Check it out yourself because I'm tired of talking to y'all. You know what I mean? But it's all love because I'm a very loving person, despite what some people might say. You know, but it's all gravy, you know. Have a nice day.